Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Tim Duffy. I am the founder of Electus Society, whose mission is to create conscious leaders. We are help co-hosting this event with our C5 Port Washington group, Shine Your Light. I'm the co-founder along with Yin. We're really excited to have Bobbie here to have a message for our community, not only here in the New York area, but maybe all across the world for people who are tuning in. So just to let you all know, Bobbie the Messenger, his full name is Bobbie Richardson. She was a soul born from Pleiades, and her gift is that she can see and experience different dimensions. She channels the Cyanians, the Pleiadians, Gaia, the elementals, and more. Whenever she does a channeled message, it's an activation. We all actually feel it. And she actually gets messages as she preparing for this actually live web or Zoom webinar. So she has specific messages for our audience. She's on a mission to really help remember our soul's connection with the divine, awakening new perspectives and new codes for us to, be more loving and more connected. She has such positive messages. So what is the agenda for today's call? She's going to do maybe 30 minutes, maybe even 40 minutes. She's gotten a lot of downloads of messages for our group today. Channeling is going to be talking a lot about different things, but specifically about activating our pineal gland, connecting with our third eye. Then we'll do some Q&A. People can actually share what they're getting, any questions that they may have about activation and third eye connection, as well as doing at the end, maybe some tarot card readings for individuals that may need some help. Yin, is there anything else you'd like to add on before we introduce Bobbie?
Not really. I just want to say hi, everybody, and welcome. Yeah, Bobbie has a lot of message to share today, so we can just get started.
All right, Bobbie, it's handing it all over to you, and I'm going to mute all the microphones. Okay, so give me 1 second. And Bobbie, you can unmute yourself and take it away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session. Thank you so much, Tim and Yin, my awesome group in New York. So I'll be heading to New York in April and through to May. So if you want to see me live there, I'll be there. Right. We did, speaking in plural already. We did get a lot of messages over the last couple of days, and my team was sending me to a specific video too about this because they wanted me to really get the lowdown on how the scientific forte is actually correlating with the channeled messages that I've been getting as well, which often happens with me. So I'll get channel messages and then they show me something and it'll be exactly the same message, but from a scientific point of view or partly. And it makes me realize that, there's something big here. So I'm going to start with some of the stuff that they actually pulled through with me on my journey to help you guys. Now, when I was young, I did get my pineal gland cleared, they said, but it was actually a frequency alignment. It's actually, it's funny, everything has shifted since I started getting these messages again. Yes, the pineal gland is absolutely important, so is a pituitary gland, but it's the mix of both that go into this cave called the Brahma Cave or the Crystal Palace that is located within the central brain. And that is where fluid is held. And this fluid is really, really special. This fluid is actually created when you were created in your mother's womb. You, as growing fetus or whatever, actually folded yourself into the amniotic fluid, which now is contained in around your spinal column and in this area around the brain. So the brain is actually kind of floating in it, and it's called the CSF or cerebral spinal fluid, and it's also in the cavities of the brain. And this is, they want to pull me into this point of a reference point. The pineal gland is part of it. It's actually it's been closed down because of the closed down nature of our spiritual side. And this is why they bring up the fluoride and put it in your water. So I would absolutely recommend do not drink fluoride water. I also got told a dream that said, kiwi fruit is actually quite helpful too, because kiwi fruit it's like the pineal gland, and it looks like an eye when you chop it in half, kind of thing. But they really wanted me to pull to the balance of the pituitary gland, which is balancing our body and our physical world and all the chemicals and that running through our body, a rhythm, and then the pineal gland as well, to bring us into this central location where this cerebral spinal fluid is. Now they've been telling me through the channel messages that we have this ability to spark consciousness within our DNA. And they were showing me that spinal fluid also sparking consciousness. It has its own kind of intelligence that's running through you as a soul, And they also brought me to sorry, I'm going to say this wrong, and I don't want to say it wrong. Sonoluminescence. No, I've got it. Sonoluminescence. It is a scientific study that was done where they had water, and then they vibrated this energy into the water. And when they vibrated it in, it ended up forming little bubbles in the water. And the bubbles, when they were pulsating with this rhythm, ended up expanding into this light. And they don't know where the light came from. So this is where they actually ended up studying it to the point where they recognize almost plasma energy, just like the sun gives off. They called it little stars. And so my team was saying, quite a while ago, I had a channel message, and I was asking about our reality, and the Pleiadians came down and said, I will show you this in a 2D flatland kind of a way, from our perspective. But if you saw source energy, soul, just a light forming a body, then it's like we've covered part of its source energy, covered part of the body with a black blanket, and then pinpricked all of these holes in the blanket. And when you look up into the night sky, you see these stars, which is actually energy of soul energy, or source energy coming at that solar system. So our sun is a literal portal into God, source energy, whatever you want to call it. And they're showing me then everything within us is also outside of us. And so they're saying that when we hit this right vibration within us, we can spark this conscious event and have these sonoluminescence existence within our own right, giving us an enlightened experience into even more. Now, this goes hand in hand with psychic abilities. So what's needed? Okay. We need to get into our own rhythm, So we've been pulled right out of our own rhythm. And if we're in our own rhythm with the nature of all things, with earth and everything, then our sleeping patterns will change, because we now need to trust our feelings, who we are, when we need to sleep, when we need to rest, when we'd like to work, when we would like to play, when we would like to just sleep or go into a deep sleep. This is going to gift us this rhythm when we start to listen to ourselves. And I know that it's not always it's not like my team's going, we realize that it's not possible. Sometimes, you've got work and all of that because you're caught in the system, in the matrix. But if you already have it within your vortex of, oh, I know what I need to achieve to get to the state of awareness in a psychic way and ignite my psychic abilities and all of that, then I am going to send it out to the universe that I'm going to get a job where I can actually sleep in the right times and rest and so forth, and play and work and everything. And I know I've done that myself. So I've been doing this for the last few years, just had my own space to be able to do what I need when I needed to do it. which has given me this opportunity to be able to channel even better messages. Because if you don't get into this rhythm, then the melatonin that's produced by the pituitary gland and the serotonin produced by the pituitary gland, melatonin produced by the pineal gland, or I think they both do both. I'm not really sure there. I'm going to leave that with you guys to study that up. Actually, I don't want to tell you wrong information, but the two, melatonin and serotonin, needs to be in balance, just like our inner and our outer world, our feminine and our masculine world, east, west of the world itself. Everything needs to start to find respect and balance of self. So the sleeping world and the waking world needs to find a harmonious balance within one's feelings and how you feel as you progress through the day without feeling guilty, right? So guilt is another one of those matrix programs pulled over us to make us feel like we can't attain these psychic abilities. So it's really important at the moment to find a rhythmic pattern. Look at what you're actually eating as well, because what you eat will be ingested, and then that spinal fluid is actually regenerating 3 to 4 times a day within your body. You literally regenerate that 3 to 4 times a day, so you can constantly, okay, you had a bit of a rough patch there where you ate, bad food, but you can also, regenerate yourself quite quicker, a lot quicker. Actually, my team's telling me now, especially in this energy that we're in now, we can actually regenerate our whole way of thinking, everything a lot quicker, but we need to find a stillness within our brain. So now they're bringing me to, when I didn't know about this sort of stuff, they led me to digging up a gold bracelet in the sand. And then they said to me, we will teach you how to work with your mind. And when they started to teach me how to work with my mind, one of the first things was a default image. So I was very negative in my thinking patterns, and they wanted me to come into balance with myself. So they said, please look for anything that doesn't emotionally, and you're not emotionally entangled with, and that is going to be your default image. I used a fluffy duck to begin with, and every time I thought of something negative, I would put this fluffy duck in my head, and then they said, no, fluffy duck isn't good because I kept getting run over with my logical brain. So then I put in a sunflower. So to find a default image with you would be, oh my God, I'm finding myself thinking negative thoughts again. This is going to happen. And what you're doing is you're projecting out to the outside world what you're actually seeking for confirmation to happen in your reality. And that means you're confirming the actual result before it's even happened by overthinking things, anxiety, and that sort of thing. So they're asking us to come back. This is one of the first things they taught me before I really started to channel, is to come back to, you have control over your minds, your thinking patterns and everything. So put this default image in your brain, constantly do that. Whenever you catch yourself, don't get down on yourself or anything like that. Just allow it to happen. And then they started to shift it up, and they said, now that you've got the hang of that, after about, I don't know, for me, it was like a year of doing this. I was in a real downward state because I had ex-husbands taking me to court and all sorts of things happening, but I shifted my reality. He didn't get to take me to court. I literally shifted it. And then in the end, they said, use your imagination. So they click into your imagination, ask your imagination, which we haven't given any value to through the schooling systems, to come in and teach you how to use your imagination so that you can actually change the story. Now they're bringing me to, okay, so I feel like I'm going a little bit all over the show. I hope you guys are keeping up, but we'll keep going. Now they're bringing me to when I was in Ohio. I was in a vision quest, and in that vision quest, they took me. I was in a tent, and they took me to uh, like I actually had no food for 3 days in that vision quest. So I had a dream. The dream came true afterwards, so that the next dream that I had, I needed to listen to. And the next dream was I was in my tent, which I was in a tent. This uh horses were coming both sides of me, galloping towards like a war zone, and this was representing my brain. So we are literally in this war zone within our minds, which is preventing us from being able to access this cave, this Brahma cave, or this Crystal Palace cave in the central third ventricle. I'm saying that wrong, I know that, but anyway, ventricle. Anyway, I'm listening to them, and I don't know if I've got that scientific word right there, but there, there's a cave there of fluid, and we need to access that. But this vision quest that I went on, the horses came both sides. I crawled out of the tent. I saw a cave. Hello. I went into the cave. The cave represented that space. Now, I always thought it represented my pineal gland, but they said no, it actually represents that space. That's the cave that you want to get to, but you have to pass through this. It was like an elder was standing there, and she's like, you cannot come through because you're coming from the warring zone. So she just didn't even ask any questions. She was going to shoot me with an arrow, and another elder came in front of her and took the blow. And it didn't matter what had happened. She grabs my hand. I was still going to go through because my soul was here to give you guys these messages in the future. So I had to have the experiences. So I was allowed to go through, even though I was coming from a warring brain. But we're going to get through to the point where we're going to teach you guys not to have this warring brain, which is going to shift everything. So in the end, I was allowed to go up into the other reality. And the other reality, they were showing me the corpus callosum between the two hemispheres of the brain, which was the in-between of talking to the left and the right brain. Like it's a bridge that can talk to both. So here I am walking up to this river that had a bridge on it, and everything was beautiful. Like the colors were so beautiful. The feelings were just, oh, it was just in a higher realm. So I walk on the bridge, and this little boy come with blonde hair, I call him my little Pleiadian mate. He walks up to me on the bridge, and he says, watch this. And he puts out his hand to the water, the river that's coming underneath, and he stills the water. So we're going to have to learn to still the water. And I'm going to teach you some breathing exercises that they just gave me last night to help with all of this in the future, soon. And I'm trying to rush through this, guys, because I know I only have half an hour, and it's all this information that's come through, and I'm trying to rush it. So sorry if it feels a little rushed. But any case, let's carry on. So he put out his hand, he stilled the water, and then he allowed the water to keep flowing. And I saw a big, huge fish coming down the stream. And he goes, they were dead. Like these fish were representing stories in our mind that were either going to die or were dead. In other words, we don't want that story anymore. So if you think about it from the past and the matrix that we've been in, we don't want that story anymore, right? So he says, watch this, and he puts his hand out, and the dead fish was huge. It just started coming alive and swam under the bridge so he can shift the story, because he'd stilled the waters enough to be able to grab the story and then shift it as it goes through to a different story. And then the next fish that was coming was literally decaying. And I thought, there's no way he's going to be able to shift this story or this fish. But it ended up growing new weeds and stuff out of it, and it became something else. So yeah, he was showing me how to shift the stories. So this is where we have to get to within ourselves to be able to access this psychic abilities that we all have. Each and every one of us is unique to the abilities that we have because of our soul's journey that we have gone on in the past. So the past that your soul went, the journey that your soul went on, like I'm human, but my soul's come straight from Pleiades. So I have all this ability to be able to link into these beings. And it's what I'm here, my purpose for. But your journey might have been, I don't know, it could have been elemental before this. It could have been, and you might have had psychic abilities as an elemental. It might have been an Arcturian, a Sirius in a different dimension, in the inner earth. It could have been absolutely anything. Another animal, but even animals have psychic abilities. And so to access those abilities, it will be unique to you when this happens. And you will get an excitement, a passion, a desire. Oh my God, how cool would that be to be able to have that? This is held within our imagination as our soul is speaking to us through feelings in our imagination, and it's connected to our heart straight directly because of past events that you want to awaken in this lifetime. So this is all to do with the information we're giving you now is to do with being able to get your two hemispheres, your masculine, your feminine in balance, speaking to each other in a nice way. And you actually find your relationships becoming a much nicer as well, where there's respect. You have respect if you're a female for the masculine, and the masculine starts to have respect for you. You'll literally see your relationships shifting as well. This all goes simultaneously together as we are awakening or bringing through more soul into our body and awakening this light within us, and especially in that cerebral spinal fluid that's harnessed, within our brains and our our spine. Now, the reason why that fluid goes all the way down your spine is because there's a movement that it goes through, and they're showing me a movement like this, and it rises in a pulsating kind of a way up the chakra points. And each one, if it has a blockage, you might have to then go into the real life and clear that blockage, find out where that weakness of yourself is. Your weakness will be showing up in a reflection of someone coming towards you. And that person coming towards you will be aggressive or whatever, and you're like, where have I let, and you'll fall into victim. When you fall into victim, you have then given your power away to them. So you have need to look within yourself of why you allowed that to happen. So there's all these new lessons that are going to be developing for you as you go into the psychic world of this understanding of more power. You have more power. But the breathing that they're bringing me to now with the spinal fluid, so they showed me right at the core, start at the root, and then imagine just the root chakra, and then have a short breath. And then they said a longer breath. And you keep doing these longer breaths. For some reason, they're going in through the mouth, out through, in through the nose, and out through the mouth, I think. Sorry, I'm just feeling into what they're saying. Yeah, in through the mouth and in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then what you imagine within yourself is these pulses going up like this, like as the breath gets longer. And then you'll see the other chakra point just here. This is your imagination. So you're going to go short, 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 longer, 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 longer. And then you'll get to a point where you can literally feel like you're at the base of the next chakra. Then hold that in-breath, because they actually scientifically proved that when you hold the in-breath, the spinal fluid is going towards going up. When you're going in the out-breath, it's going into your body. And you need these to be equal standing, but we need to be able to raise the breath in a rhythmic, and please do it in your own rhythmic pattern. You have your own rhythmic pattern of how long this feels good for you. You go with your feelings. Always go with your feelings. You know how you go to a pranic kind of a breathing thing. I haven't been to one, to tell you the truth, but they're telling me you might have a set a set breath. No, they would rather you go within your feelings of how you feel. And then when you reach that next breath, that next chakra point, and you are holding your breath, you will feel, I need to release. So you're in, and then when you release, do a short one, and you do this again. So you do the longer, and then raise to the next chakra point, and then the next chakra point, and you'll feel, or you could even feel blockages or emotions coming up around those chakra points when you land there. If you do, release them, allow yourself to cry, allow it to happen. And then also take note of that, okay, around my heart chakra, I have some issues. I'm going to have to look at that. But you can still keep going. And then they're showing me, like when I went to my throat chakra, there was a little bit of a blockage there, surprisingly enough. I don't know. You would think not, right? But there is. When I did it last night, and I started coughing. So just be aware of that. Then when I went into my third eye, or that cave, we want to be able to see it as it's a cave of fluid, and then a pineal gland, and then a pituitary gland, and they're both coming together with the melatonin and serotonin yielding. And then what happens is when you're in that higher state, you're vibrating, you'll have a frequency that is going to cause a somatic pattern. The somatic pattern is your intention. What intention do you have? Have a set intention before you start. Do you want to connect with Pleiadians? Do you want to connect with the Arcturians? Do you want to connect with the inner worlds? Do you want to connect with the elementals, a plant, even a daisy? It doesn't matter. What do you want to use this code for? When you have that set intention, then the fluid will cause a somatic pattern, just like if you've seen salt thrown on a vibrating pad, and as the heart tune or the sound vibrates up, it changes into these somatic patterns. They're showing me the crop circles. Some of the crop circles also have those somatic patterns because those that were coming from a different reality wanted to show you those patterns in the crop circles as well. The Tibetan monks know how to do this. That's why they called it interdimensional gateway when they created their patterns in the sand with their colors and so forth. And they were very connected to the Arcturians. So they could find wisdom coming from these different places. And this is going to all help you acknowledge your personal psychic powers. Because then when you have this communication open, you can then talk to. And in the end, they're saying you wouldn't even need to do the breathing exercise. It'll literally be like your chakras coming into one ball of light and expanding within you in these higher frequencies. You are that next stage of awareness. And they're showing me a page card and a tarot deck. So you're just the beginning of that next stage of awareness. It's just so much information that came through. I'm not even sure if I don't even know what the time is. How are we going for time, Tim?
Don't worry about the time. Keep giving the messages that we need, and then once you're ready, we'll do Q&A.
Right. Okay. So yeah, and I said to the guys, Tim and Yin, when we had a meeting, I said, they're telling me there's going to be a lot of information coming through and I'm going to go over time. I kept saying that. Yeah. So, yeah, so it's actually this rhythm that we need to find within ourselves. And now you have a personal rhythm with Mother Earth, with the sun, with the soul, yourself. So to find your personal rhythm. It's interesting, they're saying when you find it, the soul tribe members will naturally match because you'll be a magnet for your soul tribe members. Everybody will start to match because you found yours, they found theirs, and it's like a fluid kind of a to and fro. Everything happens very easily in life. Life is meant to be easy. It's not meant to be this resistance, constant resistance. When they took me into when I woke up in this dream in our potential Earth, my mind was absolutely clear. Everything was just as it was. Like I was like, oh, it'd be nice to meet someone. Next minute, telepathic information from my friend saying, can we teleport to your house? Like I literally was in that reality. It felt so real, by the way, guys, so real. And I knew that this was something we could achieve in this lifetime. And I got told that like 20 years ago, that showing that dream in the beginning of 2000. And just for that to have happened, and in that space, I didn't know anything of what was going to happen to Earth, and so many people also wanting to achieve this result of moving into these higher realms, just gives you an indication we are going there. Like in this lifetime, we have the ability to go into this higher realm. And when we are there, we are the observers of the mixed up world. We are the observer of the matrix. So nothing could actually get to us because we are beyond their vibrational meet. That's going to scramble for their own reality to keep it imbalanced. They want it to keep imbalanced because they feel like they have the be all over that matrix, but they're actually really unhappy. They're actually not feeling good themselves, to tell you the honest truth. I'm just seeing what else is going to come through for us to ignite our pineal gland and balance our minds and so forth. So we've got the breath that I just shared with you. When you get to that pineal gland, use your imagination to just feel into a feeling. If you can feel into it, like I'm lucky, I can feel into Pleiades just like that. Like I've had too many encounters with them, and I've had encounters with other beings. So it's given me a little bit of a step ahead, but you have that within you as well, but just different. Like you might be more in tune with the elementals or something else, or even another animal. They're showing me everything within is without. Everything within our body has its own rhythm. Everything outside of us has its own rhythm. They're also bringing up, I keep on bringing up Coco the gorilla's message. Before she died, she was a gorilla that could actually do sign language for real. And her last message was, nature sees you. So nature sees you has two meanings. Yes, nature's watching what we are doing. It has its own third eye. It has its own DMT resonance within it, connected to connection of soul, but it's also our reflection of our own self as well, and something that we can inherently communicate with and give us a lot more information. There's just so much more going on here. But there's a great vast awakening happening in the next few years. You're going to see a lot more people doing the having these psychic abilities, being able to raise their vibration out of the matrix. And it's use your imagination. What do you really want? Like, where do you want to go? What do you want to achieve? What would you look like as your most magnificent person? Really, really, really feel into that. I literally did that quite a few years ago. I saw myself giving these talks. I saw myself going around the world. I saw myself helping many, and it's just started to happen. So we will then direct our reality into confirming that to happen, not to confirming the crap to happen, which is what we've been programmed to confirm. Okay, Tim, I think I'll round it up here. I
All
can't
right.
think of I can't feel into anything else at the moment. There's a lot of information. You might have to rewatch this.
I thought it was great. Thanks so much, Bobbie, for sharing. At this point, we'll take any questions. You can either raise your digital hand, you could also put it in the chat. And while you guys are thinking about that, Yin, is there anything you'd like to add? Unmute yourself.
Yeah, no, but not just if you don't have a question, so if you just want to share an experience or your own psychic stories, and then you're welcome, you're most welcome, because this is like a discussion group, right? And then it's a lot of fun. We chat about our experiences. So yeah.
Action.
We have our first
Yep.
question
A
from
lot of people.
Ak. Go ahead, Akshat, if I pronounce your name correctly.
Yeah, it's correct. It's Akshat or AK. Yeah, thank you for having me here, and thanks, Bobbie, for your channeling, if that is what it's called. It's very fascinating. Yeah, I just wanted to share that obviously do your own research, but tamarind powder is also known to reduce the effects of fluoride. So that's one thing you can also do. And people also try to get spring water if they have access to it. You could do that. Or RO filtering your water. I also know Berkeley has filters that can filter fluoride. So just a couple of other things that you could look into. Thanks.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. If you can write that the name down in the chat bar, that would be really good
Yeah,
to
thanks so much.
help clear. Yeah, that would be really cool.
The next question is chaos.
Yep, I got a few questions, so I'm not really sure what to ask first. Is there like a limit, or can I just say whatever?
Just machine gun it, dude. All right, go ahead.
All right,
Yeah,
great.
start off with the
So
first one.
I guess I'll get started with my mission here on Earth. They keep killing me and resurrecting me, holding me back as much as they could. I was actually about to leave the other night, and then myself told me not to go yet, even though I could have walked out of this frequency completely. They said I had one more thing I had to do. And so the question I wanted to ask after that was like, why are the Pleiadians interfering with me and my beloved? I was told they put shields around us so that we can't actually connect until the time is quote unquote right. And I'm wondering if that is like, who allowed that?
Yeah,
why?
yeah. It's actually communication with you and your souls and them as well. And there's specific reasons why that happens because, you probably get really excited and just go full steam ahead. But if you aren't completely ready for what's going to come with with your gifts, your mission and everything, then you will get too much of a backlash and then it will just put you into a worse scenario than what you have even been in. They really are protecting you at this moment to be able to fulfill the mission when the divine timing is right. I feel exactly the same. And I've also gone through those moments of, I just want out, just take me. But it's actually in those moments that I've completely surrendered as well. Because when you surrender, you're just like, oh, I want out. You surrender, you're like, oh, whatever. Take me then. I'll trust you. And they want you to trust this procedure a lot more, like really trust it. Because if you fight it, you've already got a resistance towards them. It's like, it's not helping the game. That's saying it's not helping the game. Yeah, but you do have there is a mission that will be shown. It won't even be shown. It will just kind of happen. And you'll all of a sudden feel like everything's just flowing really well. It's like, oh my God. But
Yeah,
you'll
they
have
put me through a lot of hell before that too.
you'll have a switch within you that just goes, it's almost like a, whoa, I get this now. I'm not so resistant to how it's going to play out. And that energy that when you're really striving for something, it ends up being it's just pushing back on you. But when you let it go, all of a sudden it all flows. They're almost waiting for it's divine timing, but also faith or trust in the process actually opens the door. So yeah, that's
I'm
what I
not
got for
surprised they
that.
would say that, considering my higher selves, or other selves rather, keep telling me it's not time yet. But I know that every time I actually relax, I go so far forward that I am who I am. I'm not sure if it's even time for me to say that. I actually wanted you to actually say that for me if I allowed them to do it. Because I know it's like they're just waiting for me to say my name on the planet Earth, and then like they're going to basically get out of my way and allow me to do what I'm here to do, is what I'm getting.
Yeah.
It's just every time I raise my vibration, I send it back into the planet so the planet can raise back up.
Beautiful. Yeah. But yeah, also just recognizing that everything outside of you is working for you as well. Because we're constantly programmed to think that it's not. And literal message I just got recently is imagine every particle, every atom outside of you is part of you working for you. And then all of a sudden everything started going well for me again. And you'll see this progress whenever you start to match the vibration of least resistance, progress will start happening for you.
Thanks so much,
Well,
Chaos.
I guess I'll leave that there then.
All right, awesome. And Bobbie, Chaos did mention something very powerful. He's like, why are these things happen? Who gave them permission? We all have free will, and sometimes we've have our higher selves have made choices may beyond what we know or are aware of. Can you speak to that in terms of, Pleiadians and how they're helping and supporting us?
The, it's actually a collaboration between your soul before you were born and an understanding with them as well. They know, they can see from that higher perspective, they literally observing, right? So they're like, now let the floodgates open. Now, okay, she's got it. She's released, she's let go, she's okay now. And that sort of thing starts to take place. But it's, this is what they say, we get in our own way. Like, and we think it's somebody else because we've been taught by the Matrix to blame something outside of us for what's really happening within us. And the Palladians want us to realize it's happening within you first because of the resistance of trying to push something to happen when it's not actually time for it to happen. Because you don't want to be jumping the gun and doing your mission and then falling flat on your face so much you will leave this planet because you won't want to be here if you think that you've done everything 100% towards your mission and it really failed. But you weren't, or there's something to do with you wouldn't have been ready within yourself if you jumped the gun anyway, because divine timing means that you're no longer stressed about the timing either. You're no longer stressed about any of it. It's just trust and faith and going with the flow. I mean, look what's happened in the last few years, even with each and every one of us. I'm sure of it, each and every one of you guys. Look what's happened with us. Yeah, we've gone through absolute trauma, but we had to go through the worst trauma to wake us up and figure ourselves out. We've only just started to awaken. We're in such a hurry to have everything done now, and that's literally the Matrix program poured over us to say, no, there's a flow. And this is why they keep bringing up this rhythm, that you find your rhythm, even with your own psychic gifts developing, find your own rhythm and don't be so down on yourself when you want to have relax and just enjoy life and have fun. You're supposed to be enjoying this. This is actually supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be the fun part.
Bobbie, I'm watching the chat bar. Mark asked a question. He said you mentioned the bad food versus good food. So wondering what is considered good food or drink.
Yeah, right. They say, like, really, you do have this understanding within you, anything that's natural, nature, and you're also, if they showed me the pineal gland represented by the kiwi fruit, but then they said, well, you don't want to just eat 100 kiwi fruits, right? Thinking that it's going to open up your pineal gland. You have a rash all over your body. Like, you have to be able to come back to yourself and figure out this for yourself. And it's hard to say, like, if I said to every single person, your foods could be different because the way that you have been made up with your energy value of your body, and what your ancestors, as in your DNA, physical ancestors, could cope with, and what they have cleared within themselves, and all that, and what actually does help. You have this is why they didn't really bring it up as in the specific foods, but they did say, they keep on showing me tomatoes for some reason as well, tomatoes and kiwi fruit. But, take it as it comes. They're very acidy foods. So, like, you don't just obviously stay away from Maccas. But they also say, don't get too infatuated by it because the stress level is worse than the food itself. So if you want to have macas once in a while and you're doing it with delight, it's just as good as, anything else. It's just that you wouldn't want to sit on it forever and like that's all you eat, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's really specific to each and every one of us. And you might actually get dreams. Dreams might come up with foods that you need. Like I keep getting selenium shown to me, and when I actually went off meat for quite a few years there, and then they kept going omega-3 in my head. And I'm like, well, if I'm having omega-3, I might as well eat fish. So I ate fish. But they also showed me, if you're eating an animal, imagine that animal free in its next life. And that's always a good thing. Like imagine the animal free, and then you're actually putting a vibration out there for animals to be free, roaming this planet without fences and so forth, and enjoying their life as they should be as well. So yeah, I'm not opposed to any foods or anything. I think it's all an individual journey that we're going on, an adventure that we want to take. Yeah.
Yeah. It's how you feel that comes first, right?
Absolutely how you feel. Yeah.
Yeah. So AK, I know you raised your hand, but there's some questions in the chat bar. I will get you next. This question from Didi, if I am pronouncing it right. So she said, how do you know when your third eye is fully open? Is it a feeling or getting visions or a physical signs?
So the third eye, when it's activated, when it's actually working, you you will definitely you'll get each see this is the hard thing. Every person is so unique, right? You could get vivid dreams that feel very real. Literally, they're showing me lots of people will have could have a being coming to them in their dream and helping clear them as well. If you've already put in an intention out to the world that you want it cleared, you want to be able to produce DMT, you want to have these experiences, then you can actually, that's like an invite for a soul tribe member in a etheric world to come into your dreams and help activate you in a vibrational way. This happened to me with a Pleiadian, where he put his forehead on my forehead and chanted. And also, like when you'll know, because you will start to get those feel. It's literally getting your logical mind out of the way as well. So it has to go that has to go with it as well. Our logical mind loves to scream because it feels like it's not been heard. And when we say shush to it, we're allowing ourselves to tap into our feelings. When we tap into our feelings, we can get channel messages, because channel messages and telepathy come through feeling based. And so then you might start getting, I had an inkling of that happening. I had, oh my God, I knew that was going to, or synchronicities within your inner and outer world, as in signs showing up, 4444, 1111, that sort of thing is a true value of your awakening. But the pineal gland in itself, when it really does produce this DMT, you will have a psychedelic experience. So when you're doing the breathing and you really do hit it and it really works, you will have a, oh my God, out of this world kind of experience. You'll know it. It won't be something that you'll just go, that's subtle. Yeah, it'll be like a full on, whoa, 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 what just happened there? And that can actually happen in your dreams as well. So yeah. But everyone is different again. Yeah. But I'm just giving you little bits of information.
Thank you, Bobbie. AK, you want to unmute yourself and ask?
Yeah. So one question I was curious about is, are you familiar with the movie Inside Out, the Walt Disney Pixar movie? And if you are, I was curious to know if you have any ideas of the accuracy of the ideas that they share relative to the speech that you gave, because they do kind of talk about imagination and the divide, which is pretty interesting. And I think that was like enforced in Inside Out 2 when they were thrown to the other side of the brain. Thank
Okay. Honestly, I have not watched it, and I'm going to watch it now. But I do want to at least say that because of the all the movies that have been produced, and there's so many movies that have been produced to keep you held in the matrix, there has also been a lot of messages infiltrating from higher benevolent beings that are trying to help us. So you will find a lot of messages where the author or the writer of the actual movie, the film producer as well, will have these, oh, let's do it this way, and it's actually a message from the divine, from higher benevolence. And so that had to, because of the mirror effect of so many films being produced that are keeping us held bound in the FAIR program, has to have similar, be able to, you know, the benevolence actually showing up in these movies as well. And you won't even notice them if you are caught in the matrix, but you will notice them when you're waking up, which is another indication that you're waking up, that you actually notice that. Thanks for that. That's cool.
Okay. All right, Chaos, you're next.
All right. I guess I had a few questions, but the most pertinent one, I guess, is well, I guess we'll start with this. So I've traveled time like physically, and I've done the physical healings, and you know, made various things happen throughout the world, and all this is subconscious. The only thing I've ever really done consciously is controlled people's like free will, so to speak, and like done things when my beloved asked for, like saving a life that was supposed to die. I guess what I'm asking is, how much of is what I'm doing a conscious choice down here, and how much is it in my higher selves, like acting through this lifetime, through this body? Because it feels like I'm just stepping outside myself to allow whatever needs to be done in the moment to be done. And I'm not so much living as this life as it is watching it for the good of others.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, because I do exactly the same, where all of a sudden you say certain things, or you feel like you're supposed to do a certain thing, and you're like, "Well, I don't even know where that came from," and you just do it anyway. And then you find out later, nah, anything that you've done, unless it's from your ego, which that's saying I very much doubt. Um, because you do have to be careful when you go saving lives and stuff like that, because of karmic events and that of the person. Parisha, the elder that found me, the Cherokee elder, she could actually do that, shift timelines, change up things, and save lives. And there was some times where she just knew, you know, it's kind of like, I want to do this, but I know that for the benefit of the whole, it's not the best idea, because that person needed to learn a lesson or whatever. Now, I feel like with you are doing what you're supposed to do, and it's okay. Like, I think there's been the odd time if you had done something from the ego position, it would have actually backlashed onto you anyway, because given you a huge lesson yourself, and then you would have stepped back from yourself and reevaluated whether you're coming from your heart space, you know, for the benefit of all or not. Again, but yeah, you are walking this plane of existence with this higher, truer value of your higher self. Your soul's more, and you're more inclined to follow your soul than you are to follow your logic. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't fall over sometimes. Yeah, I can't
The
say
only time
anything.
I've ever actually interfered with the world as far as timelines go is the beginning of this year, 2025, when I knew it was all about to go dark and they were going to wipe out the light, and I shifted it back to be half light and half dark.
Yeah, you would have been already part of probably quite a few light workers doing the same work, if that was the case, because there was no way they were supposed to
I
win.
only did it because there were no angels left on earth. I'm like, I'm not putting up with this.
Yeah,
Shifting it
right.
back. But I've been through so many timelines. It's like, you know, it almost feels like I have no free will control over it. It's like every time I make a timeline better, I get sent into the next,
Yeah.
into the next, and to the point like where I've been resurrected physically so many times during my natural course of dying that I'm like, what is even life and death anymore if it doesn't even take hold?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, because you get to that point where you're like, hang on, it's just, and it really is just kind of a ginormous game, and like the light is supposed to win while we're here anyway. Like I've been called to do specific work at specific times. And unless I'm really called, I won't even dabble in it. I just move through my life like a normal person. But there, I feel like with you, you're called for specific things that you're supposed to do. So just go with it. I mean, so
I
you'll know
can't
if
even
you've got
use like all the
wrong.
light I want to. Like I
Yeah.
noticed like when I really go to be myself, I have to hold the balance between light and the dark. I can't go one way or the other because it skews everything for everyone. I'm
Yes.
just too powerful to do anything. So I literally just sit here and watch most of the time.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
And that
frustrating as hell.
well, because the whole point is to actually, it's not even light and dark. It's just finding this balance point within
It's like I'm
all
literally here
of
to hold the
life.
balance for everything.
Yeah, yeah. No. Yeah, kudos to you. Thank you for all your work, honestly.
Thank you. I guess we all have different missions on our
We
side.
do.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah. Victoria Young asked, how do we know if dreams come from spirit or from our own mind? Br-
Good
Fears.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, good question. So the ones when there's actual benevolent beings that are coming towards us, you will know because they'll stand out like a sore thumb. Like when not a sore thumb, obviously. Um, choice of words there. Uh, yeah, they stand out when you wake up. You're like, oh, that was really something. You'll wake up and realize that. When it's your mind clearing its own stuff and that sort of thing, it can fade very quickly as well. Unless it's something that is really needed to be pinpointed for you to clear in through your daily life, then it will show up again later on in the day when you need to clear it. You'll remember the dream again. That sort of thing can happen. But whenever I've had benevolent beings in my actual dream, I know, like I know they're a definite. They they sometimes interrupt dreams. Like you're in the middle of a dream, all of a sudden, boom, there's something,
Yeah.
a UFO is landing in your dream and a benevolent being's walking out, and all sorts of things have happened with me where they're showing me things and what's going to happen next and that sort of stuff. So yeah, you should know when they will turn up. Maybe you haven't had anything yet, and so you'll get a better indication when it actually happens because you're like, oh, that's what she's talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had that experience too. Sorry.
I just
I had experience too that I would have regular dreams, normal dreams, and all of a sudden it got interrupted and they come in and they interact with you and they give you a message.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, Yin.
Yeah.
Yeah, because yeah, you can feel it. You know it, don't you? It's not
Yeah.
something that you don't know.
Bobbie, there
Yeah.
was one question that we kind of skipped over. I want to make sure that it's asked from Alana. Should we avoid fluoride containing toothpaste? Because we know about ingesting fluoride, but what about just enough for your teeth?
No, I don't do fluoride toothpaste either. And it
Okay.
also goes into the water system. So you're just adding to the water
That's a
with
very
the
profound thought. I
fluoride.
never thought about
Yeah.
that.
And it's really hard to, it is quite difficult to get rid of it, to filter it out. You can get filters like the guy at the beginning said, but it's
Reverse
quite
osmosis.
hard and it's certainly not filtered in the system. They just allow it to float around. Yeah, there's quite a bit of a story that goes with that fluoride, but that's for something else.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Renee?
Hello. Could
Hey,
you say the
Annie.
story? I would, unless it's too long. You think it's too long? I would love to hear it.
Pardon, the story about the fluoride.
Yeah, I'm
I'll do
intrigued.
a quick story of what I was told about the fluoride that they actually gave it to the World War, I think it was World War II or one, two, with the Jewish people in the camps. They actually gave them a lot, like over gave them this fluoride, and they said that it kept them can't, that's why they'd never tried to escape too much. They just kind of went into this zombie kind of a blur. And then the Americans came over at the end of the war and saw all these barrels of fluoride and said, what was that for? It was to keep them chilled. So they actually brought it over to America and started the whole infiltration system of, using it in the system, because those that were in charge in the wars actually went to America afterwards and renamed themselves and got themselves high positions and ended up, and that's literally who's taken over the world. But no more, right? Because we're all waking up. Yeah, a quick version of that.
Exactly. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Arne, I think you're next.
Anne,
Arne?
you have to demute. Yeah. Hello.
Arne, you've unmuted, so if you're talking, we can't hear you. It could be something with your microphone, but if you can't, please put it in the chat. We'd love to get your question. In the meantime, we should go to AK until that's fixed.
Am I here?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Arne,
We can
you're
hear you.
working now. Yay. Okay, go ahead, Arne.
Okay. I'm sitting here and thinking, not trying, to formulate something that I would want to say. I was listening to AK and Chaos and Elena, all of the questions that were coming through. And my thing right now is I don't like labels or titles, but I code people.
Mm-hmm.
So another way I call myself is like an activator.
Mm-hmm.
So as I do light language and bring it, no matter what platform I'm on, it will still the entire room. And I can feel the beings that I'm channeling. I can feel, what's going on in my heart and all of that. Currently, I am in Florida helping with my grandchildren for a few months, and I thought it was going to be like a couple of weeks. So my world is like, it almost feels like, I don't know. So, if you're on a ship and the ship is going way to the left, to the feminine, then boom, way to the right with the masculine. And then in my head, sorry for those who don't cuss, but I'm like, what the F is going on? Because it's almost as if I can feel it swishing in me. Last year I was in Japan and I stood in front of where this samurai was. And it was like the whole land there was coding me constantly. And now I'm crying. I'm not a crier. I don't like to cry.
Yeah.
I was, one tough Irish girl, you're not raised to cry. So you don't cry. But I notice I can feel my cells crying. It's like I was listening to something and it was like I can remember me. Now it's me coming back to me. And for so long I felt like somebody else shut down my intuition. I was very intuitive. I'm one of 9 children and I was the only water sign in 11. But I always knew things, and nobody shut anything down. I hid it from myself.
Yeah.
And so now at this time, I feel like so much is coming back. And when you used like the black coating and poking the holes in it, it just like made me think, oh, it's me searching for more of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's so true, Arnie. Yeah, it's such a beautiful point in your life when you start to realize, oh my God, I'm the one that's done this to me. And
yes,
That's why you cry too, because you start to release and go, I've always had the reins. I've always been able to, change this up, but I kept playing the small role, the victim role,
All of
and
it.
looking for it outside of me, which was completely confirmed. So so cool to share. Thanks, Arne.
You're welcome.
AK has the last question.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to know is if someone switches timelines, for the positive, just for themselves, that way they don't inherit any karma. Can they also take their loved ones with them to a certain extent, or would it only apply to themselves and they might end up having ripple effects or changes across? And this is just a side. I was curious to know if the recording of the presentation is going to be posted somewhere in case we want to review it at some point. Thanks.
The answer.
Yeah, so the recording we're gonna post on Bobbie's website, which is Codes to a New Reality, right? And then or your YouTube channel, which is Bobbie the Messenger. Are there any
Yeah.
other places we can post it? Tim?
Yeah, I think they're the two that it can go on. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Let me
And
share the
Bobbie,
link.
you asked a deep question about timelines. All right, let's get into
Yeah.
it.
Back to that question, yeah. So yeah, I totally get where you're coming from, Ak. Now when you do something from your heart and you are lifting your vibration into a higher realm for the benefit of all, then whoever comes with you is supposed to come with you. They just naturally will. They'll start awakening and they won't even know what the heck is going on. They'll start going through their own awakening if they're not supposed to come with you because they made a firm choice to stay in a lower vibration and that's their game that they want to play, then they will not come with you. So there's nothing you can do about it. And you can't control somebody else's soul's decision on whether they want to come with you or not. So the best thing is you don't want to be sitting in the bottom of the well with everybody feeling miserable. You want to be the guiding light at the top of the well to show other people that they can come through when they're ready. I mean, because they might change their mind in the future anyway. So my best suggestion would be just to follow your own guidance and then trust where it all happens, how it all plays out. Because hanging on to somebody when they're in a very low state of mind means that you've already made a decision to stay in a low state of mind with them. You're not waking up with them. Yeah.
All right. So we've reached that portion of the program where we're going to do some individual readings. So, Bobbie, what is your typical instructions that you'd like to give for everybody?
I just realized I don't even have my cards with me. So I might just have to channel some messages through for you.
That makes it more exciting because it's out of the comfort zone.
I know my cards are way over there and I'm not getting up because it's not going to be a pretty spot. Okay.
So from
Okay,
what I
yeah.
understand, people just say yes, please in the chat, and then we'll just go
Yes.
name by name. And again, we have about
If
20.
you've got a question, it's always helpful to get my engine revving. Mind you, sometimes my team just comes through with specific answers. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
So, Yin, do you want to start reading off the names?
Yes, I think the first one is Alana.
Alana, oh my gosh, how much chat is there? Oh, wow, there's quite a few people. Sorry, I just had to go down.
And Bobbie, do you want us to unmute Alana and see if she has a specific question to help you?
Yeah, if she would like to.
Go ahead, Alana.
Hello. I don't, but I could think of one. Or
Yeah.
is it just as fine if I don't
Whatever
proceed
comes
with the
to your
question?
mind, whatever you're thinking of, whatever you're struggling with, whatever answer, you can just share it to get the wheels going.
Okay, let's see.
Sorry, as you're like sitting there going, I can't make a decision.
I know, right. Well, and
Right?
okay,
Here goes the lesson, right? On how to clear
exactly.
your mind enough to know that you're always going to be speaking the right thing at the right time and not get into that mental state of how am I going to be seen by the rest of the world? Just be aware of that anyway as you
Right.
go along in your life. Because everybody makes mistakes. We're all not, nobody's perfect. So to sit in that vibration of feeling like you need to be perfect to be able to speak up, it's going to help. Okay, I see where they're going. They're saying this is so perfect because I think that you are going to end up speaking more in the future anyway with your job or with your spiritual mission, speaking up, and they want you to clear something within the vortex of you not being feeling like watching what the rest of the world, how they perceive you. Once you support you 100%, you don't need the rest of the world to support you anyway. So that's a really good message for you. Once you support you 100%, you don't need the rest of the world to support you. Like, I've literally come home to my family that used to poo-poo every single spiritual thing I did, and I support myself 100%, and I don't need them to, but all of a sudden they are. It's just like everyone's supporting me and my family, and I feel that's such a profound message for you, Alana, to go back into, I need to support me 100%, what I say, what I do, how I act, how I move through this world, and you're no longer then seeking for it outside of you. I'll leave it there. I really would rather have my cards with me, but
It's okay. It's meant to be. Whatever
meant to
happens,
be.
happens, right? Next one is chaos.
Chaos. Chaos. Do you have a question to get the engine
Well,
revving?
I was actually going to ask a question, and then over the course of the time, I just simply went to ask this. Do I have to descend from my throne in heaven onto the earth?
It's not like that. It's more of bringing more of your higher self, soul, into grounding into this physical world to make this physical world your utopia.
Again? Man, you
Okay,
people are greedy.
so it's more to do with you, your higher self, your soul, coming more into your body so that you can be a walking, talking self, a unique self, and creating your utopia on this physical plane of existence. That's what you've come here to do.
Yeah, I know I've been shying away from that because I didn't want to be here for like another 1,000 years. I know if I
You
actually
won't be
do
here
come
for
in,
another
it's going to be a
1,000
long
years.
time.
No. This can actually happen in any given moment as you do the clearing. It can actually happen in this lifetime. That's literally why there's so many people in this world wanting to achieve this goal of
Oh no,
actually
I meant after like I
utopia
actually got
on.
here. I would be here
Yeah.
for like that long, overseeing everything. It would basically be heaven on earth, which is why I've basically held myself back for so long. I remember I once
Yeah.
talked to God earlier in the year, and he was like, "Yeah, I shattered your soul." I asked why. He's like, "For the sake of the world, for everyone, so they could choose like a higher path." But it was my life that was laid down for that.
Yeah.
I didn't
I
really say
think
too much while I was on it because I know I'm restricting myself from so that it doesn't overwhelm everyone. But basically, like,
Chaos, we have
yeah, I
several
can't
other
say
people
anymore.
want to share. Thank you so much. I
No,
appreciate
it's okay. Thank you. Mark is next.
Mark is Mark
Mark,
still
do
there?
you have a
Okay.
question, or you just want a general reading? Are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I was muted.
It's okay.
I mean, I got a lot going on, so I guess a simple thing would be for you to just kind of let me know what's coming through right now, if there is a message.
Yeah. I do feel like you're going through a lot of healing. They're showing me a bear in my mind's eye, and a bear to me is energy that's surrounding you that's actually helping you heal a lot more. Like really go there's something very stable and grounded with you though, and very kind of strong and gentle at the same time. And I don't think that you've acknowledged just how incredible you are, like how same beautiful you are.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, how good, how I don't think you've given yourself as much credit as what you give other people. And so it's time for you to start really bringing that background to yourself.
I can
And
see
I
that.
keep seeing a bear, like your totem is literally a bear. Um, that's so funny. But yeah, you're a lot more, you've got a lot more to give when you start start learning to support who you are. You're the first to go, you're amazing, but not tell that to yourself. Yeah, that's a big message for you right now. It's going to help heaps as you move along.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, next one is Dee Dee.
Hey, Dee Dee, you'll have to unmute yourself if you want to talk. No?
Dee Dee, you still here?
She's off to get a cup of tea.
Yeah, maybe we'll skip her for now and then go to Barbara when she comes back, I guess. Barbara?
Hello.
Hi, Barbara.
I am open to a general message. I'm curious to see what comes through.
Right. Keep giving me animals at the moment, which is not a bad thing. So I'm seeing a swan with you, elegance, beauty, and something to do with you and your world, how you feel or how you. It's kind of like They show me the High Priestess card. So really coming into your power and walking this world as if you've got your head held high would be a really good thing. It's not an ego. It's almost like the ego's coming and going, oh yeah. Sorry, but it's not in an ego way. It's in a way of a humbling way. Oh gosh. There is something to do with you and the way that you acknowledge yourself and your family environment or your relationships that you are in. How you acknowledge yourself is similar to what Mark's is, but different energy feelings, more aligned with, I am beautiful. I am. And when you start to see that shine within yourself, there's going to be some sort of respect coming back to you about that. Literally loving yourself and your physical body is going to shift how people react to you and respect you a lot more. There's something to do with that. That's all I'm getting for you, Barbara. Is it Barbara? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I really love that. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Next one is Kimberly. Kim?
Hi, hi. How are
Hey.
you?
Good, thanks.
My quick question is, I work with animals right now doing animal Reiki, and I want to expand my spirituality, but I'm not sure if it's
Yeah, you're meant to.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're meant to, like straight up. But even before you'd said it, I was like, I could see you going into more. You can take what you've already learned with the animals and so forth. You know, then saying not put it on the sideline, but actually use some of that to find the next link into your psychic path. It's almost like an animal has a message for you, and the animal will give you the understanding, oh my God, that's so exciting. I want to get into that. Something about an animal's message is going to come through for you. And you'll be like, I never thought of that before. And that's going to be the next psychic
Next
step. Yeah.
Okay.
They're here to help, but it was like a stepping stone up to the next. And I don't even think it's going to finish for you. I think it's just going to keep on expanding. You're going to and follow your heart's passion, like what you feel is exciting for you is going to, that's an absolute indication that that's where your soul wants you to go. So you've got this. And they keep saying, you've got this, you've got this. So you've got
Okay.
this.
Okay. So just go where I'm led.
Yeah, but there is a message that's going to come through for you for that next. And I do believe it's from an animal. It's kind of like they have a specific psychic value to that animal that you're like, oh, I should be able to do that, because if you know about it, then you can do that as well. So
Okay.
yeah, something specific coming up there.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think Dee Dee is coming back.
Okay, Dee Dee.
Yeah.
Hello. You're on. Do you have a question or? We can't hear you, so.
Sorry, Dee Dee. Maybe you could ask your question directly into the chat, because you are unmuted, but there's nothing coming through that we can hear. So
That's interesting in itself, though, isn't it, Tim?
Bobbie, do you want to actually pull up any kind of reading for Dee Dee? You know,
Yeah.
what your guides
I
are
was
saying?
I was just thinking, like, I feel you might be in a void at the moment, and the void is actually a really good place to be, but it's also daunting because, you know, you can find anxiety coming up when you're in the void as well, because you don't know where you're going to go next. It's like if you're going to jump off this cliff or not jump off this cliff, you know, it's like a freaky feeling of the unknown. But it's an absolute godsend, because it means that it's a moment in time in your life where you can completely release everything in your past and go, I'm going to start creating something completely new coming up. So even though you might not know exactly where you're going to end up, take each moment as it comes. Each moment is going to be of value, and keep going. Like I said to forgotten her name, the last reading.
Kimberly was the last one.
Yeah, like live in the moment more with this. They're asking you to come into the moment. That's what the void is always teaching us. You have to live in the moment because you don't know what's going to come next. And it also gives you that chance to release everything. So I hope that helps, Dee Dee, that you can hear me.
Awesome. Thanks, Bobbie.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, Tim.
The next person is Arne.
Arne, my friend.
Hello. I'm like, I don't have a question. I'm gonna
That's all
just
right.
let you
Yeah.
tune in,
I am
please.
feeling that you were talking about before with the washing machine coming up between the left and the right. And oh my God, what the frick. It is literally shifting. They're showing me it shifting one, and then you're like, there's my limit. I can't go any further with that. And then it will ping pong to the intuitive side, and things happening there, and there's a limit there. And I do believe it's actually bringing you, like, each time this happens, it's teaching you how to come into your central space. So you are going from one to another, to another, to another, to another, to another, and see how it gets smaller and smaller, and then you're in the central. Oh, I know how to come back into the central space now from that point, or from that point. Yeah, so you're being taught how to come back into your central alignment of where the only existence that is happening is living purely in the moment. And then you're like, oh, now I can change my story. So that will teach you how to change your story. And when you change it from your imagination, you'll see everything else starts to shift outside of you. So you have actual power now. So it's kind of giving you a power. You're getting out of the outer skirts of the storm and coming back into the central self.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
that's what
you.
I've got for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
See you soon.
See you soon. Is
Next
there
one,
anyone?
Shelley? Yeah,
Hallie?
we have a few more.
just have a total of three
Two
more,
more.
and then we'll give
Yeah.
a final announcement about your upcoming New York trip.
Yeah.
Okay,
Shelley is next. Shelley Funt.
Shelley. Shelley, do you want to ask a question or anything?
Shelley wrote in the chat, I'm open to what comes through. I'm a deep healing journey, and this year it's all about deepening my spirituality.
Beautiful. Okay. Okay, so the message I'm getting for you with deepening your spirituality is to also don't avoid the masculine side of yourself, because it's actually entwined with the spirituality side of yourself. They're taking me to a lesson that I learned, a valuable lesson that I learned recently, where my feminine side, I didn't realize, had been attacking my masculine side out of sheer protection of trying to get my feminine to give me more messages. And my masculine side, which is the doing, the business, the pulling everything together in this practical playing field, was completely wounded. And I realized, oh my God, I had actually been attacking my masculine side. I literally started bawling my eyes out, realizing that this poor wounded masculine point of myself was struggling, but still working, on all of the business side of things, even though it was getting smashed by my higher feminine side. So just be aware that that has to work together. So you'll actually get more out of your psychic abilities when your masculine side is on par with it. In other words, it has to agree to what your feminine side is spurring up. Otherwise, it only stays in the imagination, and it's never grounded into this world for you to use in this practical world. So yeah, that's one of the messages coming through for you.
Perfect. Next one's Julie.
Julie.
Julie's iPhone. Julie, you can unmute yourself if there's something you want to ask. Otherwise, we'll just do the reading for you.
Maybe.
My favorite part, Bobbie, was when you were doing the readings without your cards, where it was outside your comfort zone, and then you actually saw an image in your head of a priestess card. So the cards are even with you, even though you're not even touching them. That's so cool.
I know, right? As to messages of my purpose and my life, I don't really understand all the workings of Zoom. Oh, okay. Okay, messages for the purpose of your life. Purpose of your life. Literally, I'm seeing abundance coming in for you, and you creating even more and more and more abundance. I think it's because you're wanting to ground your utopia on this world with a kind heart. Like I am doing what I need to do. I'm being who I need to be, and I'm being unique to myself, but I'm also allowed to have all of the frillings as well. So I feel like your life purpose is to actually ground more abundance into your reality so that you can have all these frillings as well as be uniquely yourself and, come from your heart and do this from your heart space and show other people you can be a good person and be wealthy. I think that that's one of your, I don't think that's all of your missions. I just think it's the one that's coming through at the moment.
The last
Okay.
person was Alana. She had a quick question.
Has something to
Yes,
say?
hi, thank you.
Well,
So, okay. Okay. Well, so I was the one thing that was on my mind to potentially, if I were to state a specific thing to ask, a question to pose for the message was, well, okay. So I've been delving into my spirituality and going through a spiritual awakening and ascension. I'm so grateful, and it's so exciting and just, enlightening. And anyway, one component or aspect is like twin flames, and I believe that I have one. I've received many messages and signs, and just that, like, that is the case, and that's some something with that person is what kind of spurred this my awakening. But anyway, I guess like the question, and I'm glad I didn't ask. Well, although I'm kind of doing now, but not asking, but just mentioning what my thoughts were. But it was like the reason I didn't just say that, like when it came into my mind, like ask about that, like is that, am I right that this person is that, is because not even like what others might think, or you know how it might come across. It was rather because I've learned that um, if you are in that dynamic with someone, and you were maybe the primarily the chaser, as it's referred to, that like when you stop doing that, you step out of that role and you pull your energy back, it's sensed and it's felt by the other person, and that's when and you work on yourself, you grow, you heal yourself, etc. That is when a union, if it's a union can occur, or at least if they are doing the same work themselves. And so I like didn't want to even ask. I didn't want to ask anything about that concept because I didn't want to be putting my energy into that. So I guess really that's my what I'm wondering is, should I try to never think about that person or that dynamic, or is it okay to like, that's what I wonder
Yeah, I
sometimes.
understand. I'm actually going through exactly the same thing. So that's
Wow.
so interesting. And the messages that I keep receiving is, I feel it is a reflection of my own self for you to even ask that question, which is great. But I feel that we need to let go enough to just flow. And they were either going to be an initiator or an activator for you to have found your higher self, which will align you with the best partner anyway.
Right.
Or they will come back and they will be that best partner. So the only thing that you need to do is just keep on bringing it inwards and focusing on your path, your journey, where you're going from the love of yourself,
Right.
because their activation would either have sent them away for a while until you've completed your self-diagnosis, they're saying. And then they either come back or someone else will come in. Either way you win. You're in a win-win situation because you are doing the work.
Right.
And they are either someone who's not prepared to do the work, or someone who is supposed to have just done what they did and moved off, or someone that will do the work and bring it back to you. So come back to you. So yeah, just keep coming back to yourself. And the next.
Right. Thank you.
Alana, appreciate you. So at that point, we are now over time. Thank you everybody for attending this, very educational session. I'm just going to share my screen just to want to let everybody know Bobbie's visiting New York. This is something that we've been really looking forward to. Yeah, Yin has been doing a lot of great work. I've been trying to help support them. We've become Bobbie's New York team. And so there's going to be 2 events that are going to be happening, and we're trying to actually schedule more. But if you would like to join, if you live around the New York City area, well, click on this bit.ly link that I posted in the message chat, that you could actually sign up and you will get first access to RSVP to the upcoming events, so that we can communicate to you and let you know. Also, she is going to be staying here in Port Washington, New York. And so if you actually want a one-on-one in-person meeting, that could also be arranged. So we just want to start collecting that information so that we can help share Bobbie's great message with New York and the world. So, and if you guys don't want to wait till New York in April or May, you could always visit her website, codestoanew.reality.com, and you can actually book a one-on-one soul reading with Bobbie. Any other final thoughts, Bobbie?
I think that's about it. Tim, thank you so much, guys, for pulling this together.
We preliminarily already have a date. April 27th, it will have an in-person meeting with Bobbie as a speaker. It will be held in Port Washington Library. I think it's a Sunday. And then next one is gonna be in May, May 10th, and it's gonna be in Bedford Studio. It's a cafe. It's beautiful in New York City. So if you're nearby, please join us. It will be great to see you, and it will be a lot of fun. And we'll probably do more, but when we have actual date and confirmation, we will post all that on the Meetup group.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much for attending.
All right. Have a great night. Love to you all. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye.